Welcome everyone. This is Rebuilding Family Foundation coming all the way from Mombasa, a program which runs every Friday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Welcome from any part of this world where you might be getting my signal, getting my transmission, because I believe this night something good, something excellent, something precious we are going to learn in our program. Kindly, if you can get my signal, you can get my transmission from any part where you might be listening me from. Kindly just invite someone, share the link to a friend, one or two of your friends. Let them know that we have just started and you want to enjoy as much as possible. This is Coach Collins Bolo, founder, Rebuilding Family Foundation, a program which is part of the Department of Family Health, Life Skills, and Career Development. Welcome. Let's enjoy this song, even as you invite someone and tell them to sit down, relax, learn something. Today, as we'll be moving on, I'd like you to subscribe to our Rebuilding Family Foundation Academy YouTube channel. Kindly like our page, subscribe to our page so that each and every time we go on air on Friday or any other day, you can be able to get our transmission. Like it, subscribe, send it to friends so that we can get to learn some great things about why men don't listen. Why men don't listen. Is it true or just a narrative?
Moyo wangu ukae kimya. Amen. Moyo wangu usibabaike, unaye Mungu mkuu sana, unaye Mungu muweza wa yote. Aliingia rohoni mwangu, kanipa kutulia, kaniambia ewe mwanangu usilie tena. Aliingia rohoni mwangu, kanipa kutulia, kaniambia ewe mwanangu usilie tena. Ninajua shida zako mimi nitazitatua, bila Yesu mimi ni mtu bure, bila Yesu mimi ni mtu bure.
Mwanga wangu kati huzuni, Yesu ni mfariji. Kati vita, Yesu mwamba wangu. Katika njaa, Yesu mkate wa uzima. Yesu kimbilio, hajawahi kuniacha. Yesu mwamba wangu, mahali pa kujificha. Yesu kimbilio, hajawahi kuniacha. Yesu mwamba wangu, mahali pa kujificha. Anajua shida zangu, yeye anazitatua. Bila Yesu mimi ni mtu bure, bila Yesu mimi ni mtu bure. Bwana wewe aliingia rohoni mwangu, Bwana Yesu kaniambia ewe
Thank you, Yahweh. Wewe ni yote kwangu. Welcome once more to Rebuilding Family Foundation. One of the most interesting institutions in our life is the institution of marriage. It is one of the institutions whereby when young men and young ladies have feelings for each other, they tend to rush and jump into it. While those who are in at the same time, they're thinking on how they can jump out of it. This is due to different kind of challenges which people face. Most of the time, majority of our people, before they get into marriage, the best skill they have is image and imagination of marriage based on some of the movie they have watched. Some of the assumptions they have is based on what they hear from other people, but majority of the time, we are filled with a lot of ignorance about dynamics of life and loss of relationship. Now, due to this kind of challenges, many people find marriage to be one of the most difficult life and institution on earth. But the big question is it true God intended to bring something difficult and impossible for us to work on? Or might it be possible we are the ones who are very difficult as men and women, making life to be a bit even much more difficult? I don't know your opinion on the same matter. However, I'd like you to type and tell me, what do you think? Where is the problem? Is the problem the founder of marriage, who is God, or are we the problem? Now, my teacher on marriage once described marriage by defining it as marriage as a deliberate step to take a risk to live with a stranger with hope of a good future. That was Dr. Kivunzi. He once said that marriage is a deliberate step to take a risk to live with a stranger and with the hope of a good future. Why? First, it has to be deliberate. And with liberation, you have to know that you are taking a risk. It's not a guarantee it will work or it may not work. It all depends with some of the loss of relationship, which you know and you apply for your success. I understand some people today, the only thing which drives them to get into marriage and relationship is love and love feeling. But unfortunately, most of the people who are separating, divorcing, or intending to take one of those two options, they are people who have been so much in love at one point of time. But what are some of the things which in time, when people are not aware about, it can lead to a lot of crisis. It can lead to a lot of discrepancies within our relationship. And that's why today, Rebuilding Family Foundation comes in so that we can get some tips which will help us to sustain ourselves in our relationship. Now, one of the major dynamics which once you know, it will facilitate your success is what we call gender dynamics. What we call gender dynamics. Now, why is gender dynamics extremely important? Now, understanding gender dynamics is extremely important because it helps you to understand the things which men and women are so much different, as much as they might both be having 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 kidneys. But on how they perceive life and they see life is extremely different. Not only that, even how they respond to different life issues is so much different. And the moment as a man or a woman you're not aware about some of these differences, which some of them are nature-oriented, some are gender dynamics, then you'll find yourself so bitter and so hungry with the person whom at one point of time you loved dearly and you loved so much. What are some of these gender dynamics? One which I want to address today is in the aspect of how the difference between how men and women perceive issues. Now, what is the greatest need of a man? What's the greatest need of a woman? Now, in the past, it was expected that men used to go for hunting in the bush. And as they go for hunting, they get their prey, they bring it back home. Then once they bring the food at home, once they've gotten from their hunting, then the wife cooks the food. Some community, even the men would cook the food. Then upon that, the family enjoys the delicacy. And the role of the woman was simple: to take care and to nurture the children, to protect, to nurture, and care for the children. While the men went to search for food. Now you realize with time, there are a lot of dynamics coming in, because today both men and women can work. They leave the home. Today, in some circumstances, you may find the man is the one taking care of the children because he's jobless, while the woman goes to look for food. In some contexts, both of them might be working and the children are being taken care of by a nanny or a house help. But still, by the end of the day, we have a responsibility. And understanding our responsibility and how to work on it is extremely paramount and extremely important. Now, today for the women, one of their greatest need is the presence of their man, the husband. Because most women work, they can buy televisions, they can buy computers, they can buy cars, they can buy for themselves clothes even without the support of their husband. They can buy their innerwears and everything by themselves because they have been empowered. And the blessings of education is giving them a lot of positive advantage. Now, once this woman has all these things, which traditionally the man was the one to provide, and now the woman can work and can get it by herself, and even sometimes she might be earning more than the husband, then what remains to be the need of a woman? That's a very key thing to understand. Because if men don't understand, then it becomes extremely challenging. Now, when the woman has all these things because of her own personal effort, or she has all these things because the husband has provided for her, which also it can happen. Maybe you're blessed with a housewife, one who can nurture, take care, help the growth of the children from home, which is one of the greatest call in life. Still, when you provide all these things to her as a man, you have bought a car, you have bought a nice house, or probably she lives in a nice house, you have good seats, you have a television, you have a decoder, you have internet, Wi-Fi. When all these things you have provided for your wife as a man, is that enough? Is that what a woman needs? When people are poor, that's what they think they need. Poverty mentality makes both the man and the woman think if those provisions are available, then everything is good and fit. But interestingly, it's important for the men to understand the greatest need of a woman is the presence of his husband. And women to understand their greatest need as a woman is the presence of their man, not the materials which they need to be provided. Because once they're provided and your man is not available, then you suddenly realize there's still something missing up. There's still something which need to be done. There's still something which need to be addressed in one way or the other. And that's why it becomes important. What's actually the need of the man? What's actually the need of the woman? On the other side, as the need of the man, the husband, is that the need of the woman is the presence of his man, the husband, by default. Now, this is the context of marriage, not the context of cohabitation, not the context of boyfriend, girlfriend, nor the context of a single parent. This is the context of marriage. In the same way, on this other side, what's the best need of a man from his wife. The greatest need of a man from his wife is respect. Respect, simple. No wonder I usually say, even if a man is like a cockroach where he works, he needs to feel a king in his own home. And some people say, why don't they make me to be queens? No. See him a king, you'll see yourself a queen. Treat him as a king, you start being treated as a queen. So the need of the man is respect, while the need of the woman is the presence of his man. Now, when we come from a religious point of view, the first need of the man male is God, to be subject to God, so that he gets the love of God to be filled in his life. Then he shares the same love to his wife as the wife subjects to his own husband. And then as the woman gets the same love from the husband, which as the husband has got it from God, is transmitted to the children at the same time. Principles of relationship. But there's a catch here. Generally, I'm saying the word generally, women tend to speak more words per day than men. As much as some men can speak much because of their personality dynamics, but generally women tend to feel satisfied, comfortable, and nice when they talk and talk and talk and talk. Now, because they tend to feel satisfied when they talk and talk and talk, then they need someone who can listen and listen and listen and listen. So men ought to have big ears and small mouths as their women express their emotions, express their fear, express their vulnerability, express their joy, and express their dreams and desire to their own husbands. I'm not talking about boyfriend and girlfriend here. Now, if by default, most of the time, women tend to talk more, and even those who are melancholy, they don't talk more. When they talk, they need to be heard. Then it becomes extremely important for men to understand their role in listening to their women. But the big question is this: how many men understand that they have a very big task to listen? And is listening easy? It's one of the hardest tasks for a man, because when a man is in crisis, he doesn't need to talk to solve his problem. Not as sometimes as a wife, if your husband is in struggle and in situation whereby he's so much by himself and alone, the wife tells you, please, why don't you talk? Don't you understand that talking solves a half of your problem as a man? As men, we don't just solve our problem by talking. We first start solving our problem by thinking, pondering, analyzing, and dealing with the issue in our mind. And the moment we start talking, we are talking to solve the problem. Well, for the women, they talk because they have to talk. Whether it is solved or not solved, so long as they talk, the feminine part of them starts addressing the challenge and the situation at that particular point in time. Men must have big ears as women talk more to them, but is listening easy? When people are dating and courting and believing God for a wife and a husband, they're very good listeners. But when they get in, they forget one of that basic skill which made them to bond. And everybody becomes busy in its own or their own way. Why do men not listen? If what I'm talking about is making sense to you and you can get me very well, you can understand me, kindly write something, post something on your Facebook, on this Facebook page. I want to listen to you. I want to hear what you're saying. Do your man listen? Is it easy for men to listen? Or is it not easy Kindly write something even as we get back and start getting one point over the other while men don't listen.
Are you single and searching? Why are you single and searching? I need a good wife, pray to God. I need a good husband, pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you single and searching?
Are you single and searching?
Why are you single and searching? I need a good wife, pray to God.
He has the answer.
I need a good husband, pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I need a humble woman.
Pray to God. I need a fatty queenie. Pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you want your slender princess.
Pray to God.
I want a churchy girl.
Pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You are looking for a Nancy.
Pray to God.
Oh yeah, Jagalo yo munachalo.
Pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ononyo yo handsome.
Pray to God.
You need Mr. Dokita.
Pray to God. Hey, are you single and searching?
Are you single and searching?
Why are you single and searching?
Why are you single and searching?
I need a good wife. Pray to God.
He's got the answer.
I need a good husband. Pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oyagala mulungi,
naye kwoli mulungi. Hey.
oyagala wampisa,
Naye kwoli n'empisa.
Oyagala oyatuukiridde.
taliyo
Oyagala yazimba.
kw'omwongerako ki?
Oyagala talimba.
Beera w'amazima.
When you single and you searching.
Are you single and searching?
Kula muli single.
Why are you single and searching?
Why are you single?
I need a good wife. Pray to God.
Mukama yagaba.
I need a good husband. Pray to God. Pray to God. I need a good wife. Pray to God. I need a good husband. Pray to God. Pray to God. I need a good wife. Pray to God. I need a good husband. Pray to God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you single and sanchingi, as they say it in Uganda? That's really interesting and nice. Let me get who is there, who can listen to me, who can hear me, who is communicating back to me. For those who have started together saying there are a lot of dynamics between male and female. And sometimes one of the most beautiful things which makes people to bond when they're courting and dating is the fact that every man is gentle and a very good listener and very understanding. But once people get to marriage, the same man doesn't sound to be as a good listener as it used to be. By the end of the day, crisis starts taking place and emotional disconnection surfaces within a relationship. What might be some of the things which sometimes lead to such kind of confusion? I have a list of several which I'll be trying my level best to explain that we may understand our men and men to understand themselves so that by the end of the day, people can make the best decision for life. Now, one of the reasons why it's a bit challenging for men to be good listeners is because they don't understand what listening is all about. Now, when you talk about listening, hearing and listening, they're two different things. When you talk about listening, you talk about active listening, whereby your intention is whatever my wife is talking about, you keenly and intentionally decide you want to understand the meaning of what she says and the intention of what she says than what she is saying. I repeat, it's an intention whereby as a man, you decide to get the meaning and the intention of what your wife says than what you hear she is saying. Now, that's what we call active listening. Now, this is important because there are times whereby women, what they say and what they mean is so much in contrast. Different from us men, what we say is what we mean. For example, you have a situation at home and your wife tells you that there's nothing good you have ever done to me. And you start wondering, hey, what's up? Do you mean all these good things I've been doing all throughout my years? There's nothing she can acknowledge, and it breaks the heart of the man. Because at that particular point, the man is hearing what the woman is saying from the perspective of the masculine part of it, from the perspective of a man. But probably what she's saying, what she means at that time, because there's a need which you have not managed to fulfill. She's just saying, you have just disappointed me again and not done what you promised to do. So the first part is for the man to understand what it means to listen. It has all to do with your intention and deliberate intention to get to understand what your woman means when she speaks than what she says when she speaks. That's the beginning of everything for a man. So once the intention is there, second thing you need to understand is this. It has to be deliberate because it is not easy. Especially when your wife is speaking in anger, dissatisfaction, and what she says does not make sense at all. Or it is full of misconception. And it happens so many times, whereby something has just happened, then she starts expressing her thoughts about what she has just found out, or what she's thinking, or what she's suspecting about you. And in that process of her verbalizing words one after the other in anger, there are times whereby whatever she says might not make any sense, might totally not be in context of whatever you're talking about, but active listening intends that what she means, what she's trying to communicate is what you need to get at that point in time than what is just coming out. Now, that one requires listening intelligence. Listening intelligence. I repeat again, listening intelligence. Why? Because it is intentional and purposeful at the same time. Now, with listening intelligence, it will help you to understand that not every time when your wife speaks, her fears, her frustration, her needs, and even what she desires, and even her wants, it necessarily means she wants you to meet all that need. She might just be speaking what she's thinking, her fantasies, her desires, her ambition, her fear, and her anger. So don't allow yourself as a man to start getting stressed because of what is coming out, but just try to get the intention of what she means as she's speaking out. Very key, very important. Second part. The other thing which makes men to be poor listeners to their wife is the confusion of whom to please. The confusion of whom to please. For example, you are in a situation and a crisis at home. And in that situation and crisis you have to make a decision as a leader of the home, as a man. But in the decision which you want to make, it is either that decision has to please your wife, to please your people, her people, or to please God. So once there's a confusion on the side of the man, and it's not sure that to make decision to please the wife against the parents, against the mother, even against God, then boom, that confusion makes the man to be a poor listener if judgment won't be very effective. And this approach has been there from time immemorial. You can remember in the Garden of Eden, the wife comes and gives a proposal to Adam. By the way, I've just found out from Mr. Snake that if we shall eat from this tree, we shall be wise like Elohim, the creator. I've just eaten it. It is sweet, nice, and beautiful. Why don't you try to eat and also feel the same way like me? Babe, let me assume she used that word. And yes, the man confused at this time. Should I go by the proposal of my wife or by what I ought to do? Because he knew he was not to eat from that fruit. Now, when confusion comes, men ought to be that smart before making aggressive decision by listening to yourself as you intend to listen to your woman. Now, at that point, sometime, when that kind of conflict come in, most of the time, it becomes hard for the men to listen. Why? There's a confusion. Should I do the way I prefer to do, the way I want it to be done, or should I do it the way you want and the way you prefer? Now, when such kind of crises are taking place, it becomes extremely nice and paramount for a discussion to be brought than argument or one party pulling towards itself or herself. Why? Because there's some sensitive issues in our families, in our marriages, whereby coming to dialogue will bring much more results than demand from any party for sudden decision to be made, especially if that decision affects very key issues of life. So as a woman, once you realize there's a confusion and your husband is in conflict, either to go by what you're proposing or what his mother is proposing, what his father is proposing, what his boss is proposing, bring an environment of discussion at that point. Don't push for your own thing to be done. You might be speaking out of anger and selfishness at that time, or you might be speaking out of the goodwill of the family. But so long as the man is in confusion at that point of time, listening becomes extremely challenging. And it becomes worse when nagging comes in. And the man is totally confused, is not sure which decision he has to make, and is still being dragged and being nagged. So any party which feels there's a confusion in that decision which needs to be made, dialogue becomes extremely paramount than just talking and implementing the need of one party. That's a tip and wisdom for this night. Not only that, another key important aspect which makes men not to listen effectively is what we call defense of their position. Defense of their position. When there's a conversation at home and that conversation is threatening the position of the man as the leader of the home, as the priest of the home, as the head of the home, high chances, no matter how your point might be so good as a wife, he might not listen to you because his position, decision, opinion are under threat to be aborted. Now, men get fulfilled and they get satisfied most of the time when the ideas they bring, a support comes in and they get to a point of achievement. But once he has come up with an idea and the idea is still very minor, young, and not mature for action, or a decision has to be made at that particular point. Because sometimes there's some level of intelligence which women have, and sometimes they use their sixth sense, whereby this great idea which has been brought, if the woman's idea will be put on top of it and slightly the same idea to be worked on very well without it being changed and diverted, then great success can come in a family. The husband has come up with an idea about business idea. He has just brought it to the wife. Then the wife hears about it. Probably she has an experience about it. She has had people with experience about it, or she does not necessarily like it. But the man believes that if this idea will be supported and understood, it will bring a change in the family economical levels. Now, as a wife at this particular point in time, when this idea has been brought and your sentiments, your opinion, and your suggestions at this particular point in time tend to attack the idea, to attack the man, to attack the perspective of the man, he'll shut down and not listen to you. He'll start feeling as if you are totally against him and not supportive at the same time. Probably you might be having very good ideas, but presentation of your idea is poor. You have poor presentation skills, probably because you are presenting your idea at the wrong time, or you are presenting it wrongly, or you are presenting it in a manner that suggests the idea is not appropriate. Or maybe it's the man who has brought the idea at the wrong time. Good idea brought at the wrong time. Now, the best thing at this particular point from the side of the woman is, how can I help this man not to feel I'm attacking him, I'm attacking his idea, I'm looking down on his opinion on the matter, even if you know it will fail. Once a man feels that his idea is under attack, he is under attack, he gets to a state of defense. Once he gets to a state of defense, it can be consciously or subconsciously, listening becomes difficult at that time. Any good idea you have at that particular point, it's going to be turned down. Now, and if it happens that you're the kind of a woman whereby you push and push and push and try to manipulate and even come with threats to him, and even suggest that you won't support if you have ability to support, boom, another level of crisis will start coming into a relationship. And this is the time when you say, when you start arguing as couples, you may win sometime as the woman, but you lose the privilege and the benefit of honor which might come from your man to you. If what I'm saying is making a lot of sense to you where you are, kindly just send something. Let me get to know. If you're there, just speak something, tell me something. Let me get to hear something from you. Evelyn Gona says, nice topic. Thank you, Evelyn Gona. And I really appreciate you for listening to this program as we are adding value to yourself. Right where you are, please send the information. What I'm talking about, does it make sense? Have you ever seen it, heard it, or experienced it in one way or the other? Let me hear you. Let me get your feeling about the topic and about the subject. I'll be very, very happy to know what's happening, what you're experiencing. This is Rebuilding Family Foundation.
Kulikuwa na kijana mmoja alipenda kuimba. Alitoka ushago hadi Mulango, begi lake kwa mgongo hadi sawa huduma. kutoka ushago hadi mlango, wenge lake kwa mgongo hadi mtaa wa huduma. Ingawa huduma alipewa naye Mungu, matatizo limukumba, maisha Nairobi kawa ngumu. Alijaribu kutafuta vibarua, akajaribu kutafuta na ajira, ila yeye ni mvumilivu. Aliandika wimbo katika magumu, aliimba kisema, ikifika wakati wangu nitachipuka tu, ikifika majira yangu nitachipuka tena, Bwana Mungu ataniinua, nitachipuka tu, ikifika majira yangu nitachipuka tena, nitoke chini na mwisho niinuliwe, nitachipuka tu, nitoke mavumbini na mwisho nibarikiwe, nitachipuka tena.
Huenda kuna jambo umejifunza kwa kijana huyu mchachambo. Huenda kuna mambo yamekukumba, yamekutesa tangu kitambo. Maisha sivyo hivyo yalivyo, ukimsujudu Yawe yatakuwa poa, yatakuwa shwari. Ungali bado wewe mdogo, usitupe kisogo, yatakuwa fiti, yatakuwa shwari. Neno la Bwana lasema utachipuka tu, neno la Bwana lasema utachipuka tena.
Ikifika wakati wangu nitachipuka tu, ikifika majira yangu nitachipuka tena, Bwana Mungu ataniinua, nitachipuka tu, ikifika majira yangu nitachipuka tena, nitoke chini na mwisho niinuliwe, nitachipuka tu, nitoke mavumbini na mwisho nibarikiwe, nitachipuka tena. Huenda biashara yako faida haionekani, subiri wewe, usichoke.
Huduma yako kizungumukuti, ndugu,
subiri wewe, usichoke.
Uko kwa ndoa watoto hupati, mama,
subiri wewe, usichoke.
Yes, welcome back. This is Rebuilding Family Foundation coming all the way from Mombasa. Kindly like our Facebook page, like our YouTube channel, Rebuilding Family Foundation, and also subscribe, that every time we get online, you can be able to get our signal, and also you can continue to learn. There's so many things which you have put on that page which you can continue to listen later on and just enjoy out of it, which is very key and very important. Today we are talking about why men don't listen. Why men don't listen. It's very key, very important, because when most of the time people court before they marry, one of the key things which attracts women is the fact that there's someone who can listen to them, someone who can understand them, someone who can get to their level. But somewhere in line, as things start coming up, a lot of responsibility and tasks start coming up on our way, we tend to forget and we lose it. We have learned that listening intelligence is key. And in listening intelligence, you have to be intentionally deciding to understand the intention of your woman than what she says. Confusion on whom to please in time of crisis can bring issues on men. Defending on one's position can be another challenge. Now, another thing which sometimes women need to understand, leading men not to be good listeners, is the fact that most of the time they are very logical. Most of the times they are very logical. By nature, men, most of the time, we are logical as much as we are emotional. Women are fast emotional, even for them to think in logics. But now, for each and every man, it becomes extremely important for them to work out on how can I balance between my logics against emotions? How can I be logical but still understanding other person's emotions? Now, that one demands what we call emotional intelligence. Now, these are things which you have grown up not being taught from our homes, even sometimes not seeing it from our homes. They're things we learn as we move on. And if you get a privilege to attend some of our academic class, you can be privileged to learn about it. Now, why is it important? Because emotional issues can never be solved with logics. I repeat, emotional issues can never be solved with logics. Now, that one means as women are emotional, they need to understand there are times whereby as you are emotional, your man might be on the face of logics and you're not connecting at all. You're not connecting at all. Let me give an example. You both sleep at home, there's no money. Then you wake up in the morning and she tells you, by the way, are you aware that we need to buy A, B, C, D? Then with the man will be like, but when we slept, we had no money. Or I just told you I've not received my income. So in the morning, as you are bringing up these issues, do you think when I was sleeping, I had a dream and I got some money coming in? Now, men with their logics, doesn't make sense for someone to repeat the same thing after you had explained about it well sometimes back. Or one party's family, they have a need. And from that particular need which they have, the wife explained it to the husband. He got about it, he thought about it, and he shared on what needs to be done. Then later on, it's been reminded about it. Sometimes men feel like, what's wrong with this woman? I just had explained to you about it, what you want by the end of the day. What exactly do you want? Now, unless men on one side get to understand, sometimes our women speak from very emotional point of view. Even children express themselves from emotions, and what they need is for you to connect with them at the emotional point of view than bringing logical solution to that particular kind of trouble or situation. So what does it remind us about? Logics don't solve emotional problem. Emotional problem needs emotional solution. In the same way as a woman, when you are expressing your feelings and your emotion and your man is not getting it, it becomes important for you to understand probably the barrier between me and my man on this subject matter is the fact that from his logics, it doesn't make sense. While from my emotion, it's making a lot of sense to me as an individual. Or else, there'll be a disconnect on what is factual and logic to a man and very illogical to the woman and very emotional for the woman and not emotional for the man. So sometimes we don't listen because our logics are very high on what needs to be addressed from emotional point of view. Very key and very, very, very important. Being too logical in every matter can bring crisis in a relationship and can bring crisis in marriage. Time is not on our side. In our next episode, we are going to continue why men don't listen. and what women ought to do and men ought to do so that they can continue to connect with each other as far as the emotion is concerned. Let me see another person. My health, my wealth says getting blessed. Getting blessed. Thank you very much from where you are sitting and even sending your texts. Very good, very nice. I don't know for those who are listening to me from different parts, if today's topic is good, you feel like we need to move on again and again and again and listen to it. But I believe so. Next Friday from 9 to 10, you are back with Rebuilding Family Foundation. And we are going next Friday, we are going to have some guests who will be addressing very important issues in our family: safety. While we're talking about safety as far as health, what we feed domestically is concerned from a health point of view, another person will be addressing safety from a mental health point of view domestically in our home. Another person will be talking about safety from what happens in our homes in each and every particular day. Don't miss it. Before we get back and speak about why men don't listen. Thank you very much for joining us and being part of this learning. As I finish, and as being a clergy, let me tell you something. The founder of marriage is God himself. But because man failed in the Garden of Eden, even the best gift which God has given to man, it becomes extremely difficult to enjoy it. For you to enjoy this gift, one of the basic secrets you need to have is simple. Start a personal relationship with God through his son, Yeshua HaMashiach. Once Jesus comes into your life, you're going to be privileged so that you can be in a position of having new life. And out of this new life which comes from him, then your marriage and your relationship can explore and also enjoy in the benefit of this new life which comes from Christ. What we need as we wait for the Easter next week, remembering the death of Jesus on the cross, like the serpent in the days of Moses, people are to look on it that they may live. In the same way, if we look on Christ, we shall live. Not only shall we live, also we are going to enjoy the abundance which comes from him, the source of our life. God bless you. Good night, good morning, good evening.
And what can wash away my sins?
Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
And what can make me whole again?
Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow
that makes me
white as snow.
Yes, worship with us.
Found I know,
But there is
nothing but the blood of Jesus.
Worship with us.
Oh, precious is the flow
That makes me
that
makes me white.
white as snow.
There is
nothing but the blood of Jesus.
Nothing but the blood of Jesus can make us white,
Amen.
can make us white.